Old Guard, Aydan and Ray have been playing together, the Cheddar brothers, for so long. And Adrian, this like perfect third wheel that works perfectly with their systems. And you got Huskerrs, Unrational, and Scummin, like the Death said, Almond, Not Noobs, and Tommy. All three of those squads have been together for so long, since like Rising Stars of Warzone, like way back in the Verdansk days, winning tournaments, finding their Kim, TBE, one of the winningest squads, winningest trios of all time. But then you've got like your Hisoka, Skullface, and Mayapo. Yes, they won last World Series of Warzone. Yes, they're talented, but can they do it again? I mean, that's the big question in my mind, is do they have enough Kim to make it happen? A lot of roster changes, a lot we can talk about. We'll be breaking it down all throughout this game. But Tim, as we get into it, already some early fights.
Oh, we love to see it. Mr. Daft on your screen, going large with the pistol. Not a bad location to drop. You can get plenty of cash from this style of buildings with one elimination, forced to reassess the situation. But when you go into those early game contests, specifically for looking for large amounts of cash to get your loadout quickly, you run the gauntlet risk of making sure that, hey, they probably picked up an AR, maybe got some of those plates that were on the shelving, but taking to the roof is not a bad call.
I love to see these early encounters. What we saw all day yesterday is that the speed of play was enhanced, Tiff. I mean, we talked about Birdseye a little bit yesterday. We're going to talk more about it today, and I'm sure that Dust is going to break that down in more detail. But when Birdseye is active, when you have your perks, teams are going to be flying across the map. We saw that specifically in the last map, of course, yesterday, but even in the first, this is the litmus test. This is the deciding factor on how fast we'll be playing today, and it looks like some early encounters, they're trying to set that pace pretty fast.
Hey, you said early encounters, but I saw some big names going down in the kill feed. Unrational, Huskerrs, the Old Guard starting to fall early on as we get a good look of where that zone is pulling, and hey, everything's in play.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams here we could talk about. Some of our teams are going to be favoring the center of zone, but, well, everything's near center of zone at this point, Tiff. This is probably the most central circle that we've had between all 6 maps yesterday and today. This will be a fun one to try to predict where it's actually going to end up. Some of these players have played an insane amount of Call of Duty. We were looking at some of the ranked numbers for some of the teams and some of the players, and we're talking rank number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 in this lobby. Just raw playtime. But speaking of raw playtime, there's Shifty, one of the roster changes that we were talking about a little bit before we got started. Swapped over to this highly aggressive team with Biffle and Sage, a team that everyone is thinking is going to be top 3, but Delsky, Ty, Excel coming from the qualifiers would love to put a wrinkle in their plans early.
I mean, that's what we want to see, right? All the teams coming in from the qualifiers, giving it their all to seal their tickets to London. And I believe with the EU rosters just yesterday, those finals went down. If you didn't catch them, please go back and watch the VOD because they were absolutely wild. But only one team from the qualifiers stamped their tickets in the top 15 yesterday.
That's exactly right. I think the qualifier teams have a lot to prove, and they need to do it pretty early. Sometimes the bleeding can't really be stopped by the time you get to map number 5 and 6. There's Joewo, Breadman, Limax on the right-hand side, Hollywood, Vanucci, and Rayskis after being relegated from the... No, actually just barely qualifying in Stage 1, Team 22. They're trying to hold on to that micro win and hopefully improve upon it, because we're looking for top 15 today, Tiff. And when you start thinking about how many points you need, yesterday we saw the cutoff was 66.6 points. That's 11.1 points per game you have to score, so you can't play too slow. You have to find points along the way. In Stage 1 for North America, though, 15 was like 76.8, so you even need a little bit more than that. We're talking like 12.8 points per game, so watch out for some of those numbers as we go throughout today. Double digits is the key. Super Evan in trouble.
Oh, Super Evan. I saw the post coming out from XZ wishing him luck. Well, he went straight to the gulag to join up with Swagg, and now Z Colors, known to clutch up, is going to have a rather tough time here. But jumping out, the issue with all the water is, yes, you could reposition yourself, you can hide, you can plate, but the audio cues that you'll get from being in there are going to be a little tough.
Color, Super Evan, Swagg, a fun trio to talk about because, well, they have a solid amount of chemistry. They've played together a sizable amount. Colors will easily grab that 1v1 victory, but a word on the street is they were having some tiffs between, not your name, but tiffs in chemistry before some of the broadcasts. They've had some arguments on comms. As long as they're on the same page, though, that team is certainly one to watch out for. They have the slaying power needed to win.
I I feel as if chemistry will just outweigh any kind of talent. I mean, you obviously have to be talented, but working with a team that has such a fluid amount of chemistry, knowing you can trust in your teammates to be there when you need them, get your trades, and just have your back, you will find so much more success, especially here in these hyper-aggressive lobbies where it will make or break the decisions. We saw just yesterday, and Waldo on your screen had a lot of good success so far in the World Series of Warzone, but these buildings are immensely difficult to hold.
Looking down the sights towards Reader's team, did decent during the qualifiers. Team Omen and Team Reader were 37th and 38th respectively. So 37th Reader, Authorized Lovey. Some of these names you might recognize just from Call of Duty in general, but hadn't made too much of a waves in the Warzone scene. We'll hop back to them shortly as Adrian, Rated, and Aydan, your winners of Stage 1, and a little bit of a gunfight here in Observatory. Now, if we learned anything from the EU Stage 1, Tiff, it was that Observatory remained hot. Yes, it's hot in pubs. Yes, it's hot in ranked. It was hot in customs in the best lobbies in the world. We had some of our top teams vying for those positions.
Look, we see Waldo here still trying to hold this building. Meanwhile, Rated, Adrian, and Co. Adrian was trying to get out of dodge, maybe jump down, but Waldo's going to be in a 1v2 situation. Make that 1v3. They're looking at him, trying to snuff him out, and able to grab a knock onto one. Looked like he got the full, and unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, but here comes the third party. We got Squad 50 moving in, looking to clean house on this, but the issue is Lovey and Co. did not take that much damage in the engagement with Waldo, so it's a fresh fight.
Well, it looks like it might be a 3v2 as 37 is going to dive out of here. 35 might be trying to catch a freebie out in the open. I think Team 50 is going to push the encounter here. Talk about something to prove. You get the last specific place you need to qualify for main stage, and you get it on a tiebreaker, by the way. This team tied with 26 in the qualifiers and was able to move on because they won the tiebreakers. They have something to prove. Team 50, watch out for them. I think they've got a chance to do something big here and shock the world.
Brax, Empathy, Finessing on your screen. Trying to take on Huskerrs, able to grab a knock onto him. A little dolphin dive into the water below to close the distance. Meanwhile, Finessing, drill charging out. Something we always talk about. It's always been the story of drill charges of choice. That's why perks like Bomb Squad would be really nice to have on as opposed to Ghost, which, Dandra, we'll leave that to you. You little analysis demon on the desk.
Yeah, exactly. Finessing's a fun add to that team. We'll continue to check in for that squad. You got JC here. Azim trying to push from down below. Finds it. Easy win. And Tiff, I know yesterday one of the big notes that we had was body stack, body stack, body stack. It looks like a free 1v1. Just wait a second and take the 2v1 or 3v1. When you have the player advantage, you have to use it. There is no reason to throw away useless lives. Azim is doing a fantastic job of doing that right now. Won the 1v1 on the outside, looked like free, was able to execute on it, and then when it looked like they had a disadvantage, push his way out of the fight and is going to group back up with Traverse.
Clutch Bell, Destroy, having some pop-off moments, taking a full elim on a team. Scripta, though, we talk about how long we've been around the scene, seeing teams since Verdansk, but Scripta really played in a lot of those co-ed tournaments back in the day and is looking to seal themselves a ticket here.
Yeah, talk about a team that's definitely kind of an underdog or underrated. This squad got second in the qualifiers, right behind Rhea, Solidify, and Xenon, and a team that probably most people aren't really looking at as a major threat. Scripta's been playing in the Warzone scene for a really long time, like you mentioned, and kind of is always tweeting out like looking for a third, looking to play in this one, looking to find a group, like hasn't found the Kim to really succeed at a high level. Maybe this is the team though, because they had an opportunity to get second in the quals, which is a feat that doesn't go unnoticed.
Definitely does not. Let's take a look at the map. I'll share him pass over there, relatively empty. I'd imagine the teams that are rotating out of H5, Team 5 and 12, maybe looking to grab some high ground over there. You do have Team Aydan just south of that. Last we saw them in was Observatory, rotating down towards the village to try and regain, but Aydan has found himself down, but Raid is already on 4.
That's a great start for this squad. Aydan is down, but a free res. They're doing a fantastic job of playing together and playing as a unit. Had a chance to interview a little bit with Rated beforehand, and essentially what he said, paraphrase, was anyone can win any fight. You just got to put yourself in an opportunity to do so, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Azim is trying to do the same, getting pushed by Almighty TJ. Tough fight to win, will go down, especially when Exify, it looks like, was a little bit off kilter, not able to help out.
Trevor's already able to grab the knock, still repositioning themselves. Good use of the lethals to try and grab that initial knock so he can kind of capitalize on that and buy him some time to go ahead and replate up. But Almighty TJ here playing the fence line to the best of their abilities. You can see to the left is going to be the second teammate trying to get connected with him. Traverse, though, trying to find that angle. Dude, sometimes all you can see is their head, but sometimes it's enough.
Yeah, now that Exify is here to help out, this actually is a fun 2v2 fight. The question is, do they think they can win it? They didn't know where Exify was until those shots go out. So now this might be a tougher fight to win with Almighty TJ able to play a little bit more defensive. Oak is going to take high ground and get ripped off of it quickly. This could be the opportunity for Exify to push. He will push forward. This is a nice team fight. This duo is working together well. Their third is flying back. Almighty TJ's third is able to give them aerial comms likely on where these players are at. So at a slight disadvantage, this might be a tougher fight to win now. 2v2 with a pistoler up top. JC comes in, is going to start ripping from above. And that's exactly the momentum push they needed to win this gunfight. Traverse in trouble.
Xfight did grab the knock, immediately gets traded out, and now Traverse has no plates left. Not gonna win the engagement, gets fooled. Now Asm last alive. JC baby bleeding out, will need to hit the res, but not before the work here is done. 3 eliminations though, with 44 teams still up, is that start that you need. But granted, we saw what happened in EU yesterday. Our teams that ended up taking the win, Team Juki, started out with 4 points after map number 1. So every point matters, Goj, and you said it best yesterday, and you might have cursed some people too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later. I can't bring that up yet. I'm still mortified by the fact that we had a team lose by 1. Huskerrs wide out in the open. Not sure where he thought he was going. I guess to the water to swim to a new realm here, and might be able to sneak out. It is so difficult to see these players in water. Team 12 is going to try to push the equation and clean up Huskerrs, especially if they saw who it was, but not sure they're going to be able to do that. Uh-oh, base got Xenon in trouble. Last alive on his team on the edge of zone with the full team. Team 37 on the right just barely ekes through to the next spot. Enough coverage where he might actually get here free. 35 is laying in wait. This is the thing we saw all day yesterday. We always see it in customs. Anytime you're running edge of zone, it is a high-risk play style. There are always holding teams as you rotate in. However, with Bird's Eye, you might be able to root out some of these squads and know where they are to help with some of these clearer rotations. It's less Giga Brain and more of resource management these days when you're rotating. But speaking of Giga Brain, TBE, a fantastic squad with a high value target on their backs. One of the squads that everyone's expecting to do well today, Tiff.
I know you were talking about, you're like, I'm reaching out to all of my players looking for predictions, but it was TBE, TBE, TBE. Yep. And well, let's see if they can keep up that momentum moving forward. I saw some action early on the game. Noobs had gone down early. Tommy was finding precision airstrike knocks. So they've been in a lot of heated engagements thus far, picking up just a couple eliminations, but not a bad start. We're not into the points multiplier, and we're already hitting that rotation, which is very similar to the hyper aggressive. You talk about Bird's Eye perks. Teams like this are really going to be able to utilize it to basically chow everyone.
Yeah, this will be a fun chow against 4 Jace. I believe second overall or rather third overall, I believe, in individual kills, or maybe tied for it. 4 Jace had a fantastic tournament in stage 1, securing his team 8th overall. But Otterize kind of played a little bit of backup to Jace's slaying power, and then Prospect's been moved on to this roster. Now, TBE is doing the classic triangle formation. This is what we're talking about with this team every single time, and it's non-verbal at this point. It is automatic. They've been doing this for years together. Tommy taking a little bit of high ground, Noobs taking Overwatch position. Jace gets cut out in the open, it gets cleaned up. That gives them player advantage. Noobs might play entry man from top here. See ya.
And he does, able to grab that knock almost immediately, and the full now finishing laying siege to this building in a 3v2 situation. Just gonna be able to work their way through the staircases. Otterize has already said, see ya, I'm out. I want no part of this aggressive nature.
If a TBE's like Lego, you know what I mean? They hit every single, you're talking Lego, Star Wars, Harry Potter. I mean, we're all over the place. You can do everything if you're TBE, and every single person will fill every single role in the world. Whatever they need to do, they can execute on it, whether you're Tommy, Almond, or Noobs. And speaking of another team that likely can do the same, Aydan, Rated, Adrian. Your winners of stage 1 continuing to push the fight. This is the speed of play we were expecting. This is ridiculous.
The trials and tribulations that they had to have in that stage 1 to get them that win, even Aydan himself said that was one of the most valuable wins for me, and would love to see them run it back, especially with the young gun Adrian. You know, after that, they went on Repulse's podcast, and it was so interesting because Adrian, I mean, didn't really have too many words to say. It was like a man of few words, but when he spoke, it was just locked in.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a team like Aydan and Rated that you're joining as a third, like, you really can almost turn your brain off. Like, just go fry. Like, listen to their comms. They know what they're doing. They've been here 1,000 times. Adrian could hold his own by himself, and when he has his brain on, he's a fantastic player. But he doesn't have to, right? He can just play the third that just drops crazy amount of kills and slays out for the team and plays smart. I mean, you listen to their comms, you're going to win games, and that's exactly what happened last time around. But TBE continuing to force the fights, looking for an early pick here from above. Noobs continuing to play this kind of crow from above that swoops down and grabs kills when they otherwise wouldn't have been possible. Tommy, Noobs, Almond continuing to root out every single rat inside of every single building. They just can't quite grab the team wipe. That final third always sneaks out at a moment's notice.
I was gonna say, I think I've seen this all before. As soon as Noobs immediately just perched up on top of that building and just dropped down. Now colors down as well. Super Evident Swagg going to have to put on for the team. But you can see on the rooftop is Biffle, and this rotation, which a member of Biffle's team has already rotated out into the water and will be able to provide cover. We saw what the rotation was going to be looking like as that zone continuously pulls very much central to Observatory. Rotating uphill, one of the worst things you can do in Warzone, especially if teams are in Observatory looking to hold you out. But this rotation right here is going to be disgusting.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. 2v1. Shifty was getting aerial comms there for Biffle to be able to try to win that. I'd love to check back in on that later as we have a massive fight going down at Observatory. Look how many teams are here, Tiff. Now, looks like Nate Dogg got the better of that one. Fades and Tapa there. But all of a sudden, Sage and Shifty are flying around still, continuing to give aerial comms. Biffle's trying to make a play and does somehow find Super Evan completely unaware what's going on. Shifty continuing likely to rain comms Supreme from distance. This should be an easy 1v2, make it a 2v1 on the other side as Sage is back into it. Sage in trouble and knocked by Doozy, but Doozy's inside the storm. Gonna probably go for the thirst and yep, cleaned up. See ya.
Just like that, gonna hit the res on Sage. This is where you start to think of, did you have that medic plate carrier? Do you get that quicker res? Pop in the water and start the rotation. Back on board with Fades, just inside the zone here at Observatory with a little bit of high ground. Not bad considering we have 5+ teams here, including the reigning champs of stage 1. Team Aydan, you can see they're just near that main building, and little Mario doing work on Clutch, Belk, and Zlaner. This is really sad, especially with the compilation of the precision airstrike and a mortar to boot.
Yeah, I think DBZ is going to have a good day today. They just need a better start. Looks like Squad 14 was wiped as 31st, so not a great way to start. We've seen people pick it up from there, but Observatory is where the majority of the action is going down. You've got Team 29 trying to push up late. This is not a rotation you want to take late into the Observatory fight. Aydan squad wiped out the winners of the qualifiers. I saw Riaz's team get wiped already as well. They might have some gulag still, who knows, but this is chaos here in Observatory. Every single building has been filled. Where will Wag, Picnic, and Nick Cool go? They are on the revenge tour. The desk shouted him out, Tiff. 26 from stage 1, and guess who's hanging out? Stellar moves. Russ have the high ground position. Can they win the gunfight? 2v3. Almost.
What a cheesy position. Get them the Rat World Series of Warzone skin because they need it. That would have only made that positioning so much better here in the dome. Willie T looking to find the rest of them. We have Team 34 just on the outskirts looking to make an impression here. And how they haven't been thirded yet just goes to show you the fact that teams are holding high grounds of the buildings and Observatory, not willing to get it up.
Uh-oh, precision airstrike. That hurts. 2 go down. Willie T by themselves. This is a team certainly to watch out for. Stellar moves split from his other two teammates after a dispute and put together this squad, a squad that has some experience in customs and likely could do well should they maintain their positions early. They were in a good spot, now they're not. Look how many teams are gonna have to rotate out of observatory. Everyone continuing to move north. Breadman looked like he's in a little bit of trouble here on the edge of zone, especially when you can't be the Billy Goat you want to be. Joewo, climb the rocks, climb the rocks, brother. In trouble.
I thought he was the movement god, Ghost. I thought he was the movement. I thought it was Flowo, but it's gonna be DJ Moss, E-Bates, and Z-Smith at the hands of the downfall for Joewo and co. But you know, we were lurking, Dandro and I were lurking, and we learned that DJ Moss had like 10 waters since last night. He's feeling hydrated and he's feeling teed, and clearly it's paying off. So drink your water, kids.
Hey, hydration is key for life. Simple facts. Your body's in like 77% water. Anyways, Reader authorized last two life for their squad. Again, edge of zone. Everybody being pushed out of observatory. Luckily for most, there's not a lot of cover here. It's all rolling hills and mountains. So whoever went early should be totally fine to hang out there and look up to the skies as everyone comes parachuting off or running down the mountain like a horse in Skyrim. And Reader is going to swing up around the corner here and have an opportunity to take a glance at the eBay squad that we were just talking about, who might be in a bit of trouble and down to 1. But here's our reigning champs. Aydan, Rated, and Adrian frying. Rated on 7 already. Aiden's on 3. That's double digits. So they're in the point margins they want to be in. But they're in trouble on edge of zone because there's 3 teams below them and at least 2 off to the left-hand side. If one team looks up at them, they're dead.
Yeah, this is not going to be the easiest rotation. Now Aydan last standing, 20 teams still up, so we're just into that 1.4x multiplier. So even if this is the throwaway game for them, which if it is, that's great, but it's not that bad, right? We do have gas masks, but just playing it slow out of the line of sight, because you can see flanked, attracted. That's going to be Smixy's squad still up and at it. You know, I was tuning in with them earlier. They were talking about all kinds of things of what they wanted to see. Do we make a signal 50 class? Will people be sniping? So far, no snipers here in A, and minimal yesterday. Aydan on the rotation, though, you can see getting peppered from afar, smoke and run, trying to use as much of the rocks for cover as possible. You are the mountain goat, Aydan. Make it work.
If anybody can 1v3 and 1v2, it's going to be Aydan. Nice play from side of the rocks. You've got one team still holding ultimate high here on the our left-hand side of our screen. Now to dead center. Russ, Willie T, Stellar moves somehow all 3 alive. They've regained, and here's an opportunity for FaZe just to look over at Aydan and find a free kill, but he's got to root out the rat. Aydan down below, and now FaZe is so focused on Mutex down below, who gets knocked in full wipe. FaZe getting snapped by Autorize and 4 and Jace. We didn't see Aydan.
No way!
I don't think Aydan shoots here until the final moment. There it is.
He did it!
Finds one, can't grab the second. That's a free kill, though, and a solid game for Aydan's team. Look at our total team tally. We're at 12 teams. That's a great multiplier for the reigning champs, but who's going to win this map?
Yo, Tappa just grabbed the med plate from Aydan, hit the res on his team to get him back up as quickly as possible. Now we're in the Mountain Goat Central of the final zone. 4 and Jace on your screen as well, along with Autorize. Just a duo, but TBE up and at him. Just got to find the nearest bush and lay in it.
Big question that always comes with this 9th zone is going to be, or 8th zone rather, is going to be where does it move to from here? Does it pull towards TBE? Does it pull towards Tappa and Nate Dogg with the high ground? We got to continue to root out the Bush Wookiees or the Tree Charlies, whatever you want to call them. People are hiding, waiting for the top 10. We are in the top 10 tips, so we're into the 1.6 multiplier. Top 5 is where you see the 1.8 multiplier, and TBE is set up flawlessly on the edge of this mountain to hold this rotation, praying for the zone pull.
What a rotation and good zone call from them, because we knew getting out of observatory was going to be one of the toughest things. You can see Allman has the inkling that someone is just in front of him, but not a trap. Get back up there, but Tommy can make it happen. Nate Dogg in the sights, dealing all the damage to get the plates, but no manifesting of the shield. Crack full, but hey, Pika Almond, he's going for the low ground, trying to hold the pressure off on absolutely everyone. Now waiting for the teammates. The peek comes in and the swing, and just like that, a battle for low ground is ensuing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic fight. too, because they know they got to win this for the zone. They do lose noobs in the process, so there goes major player advantage. However, there's 8 players, and there's only one duo left on your screen. Tommy and Almond looking to grab this victory. Zepti will finally fall. So Tommy and Almond, you've got Tapa and Nate Dogg, and then you've got Otterize 2v1 for the final fight. And right now, TBE's in the best position, kind of. Not a lot of cover down low, albeit they do have the first access to zone.
The question is, how many smokes do they have to be able to close their line of sight as Tapa goes down to Otterize? Almond, though, pushing up, running the issue. They're split, trying to put as much pressure on. Now we're down to the final 2. That 1.8x multiplier, all trying to take down Nate Dogg and Tapa. Nate Dogg drops down. He's going to go down. This should be it. TBE, the old guard, map 1 victors.
And look, when we talked about predictions, I asked everybody under the sun. They said, who's winning it today? They said TBE, and I said, you bet your butt they are. I'm dropping 5 digits that they're winning today, and they won map 1. When Birdseye is active, they can play hyper aggressive and take the right rotations. It is handed to them on a silver platter, and they executed. TBE at the top of the world for a reason, at the top of map 1 as well.
That was just textbook, right? You think back to the very beginning when we started witnessing TBE playing together. I mean, you, me, Dandro, we've seen their entire journey. Let's run back the celebrating moment of that map 1.
I'm making a play, Tom.
Yeah, I'm hiding.
More.
It's two.
I'm hiding up here. I've got angles on like the push.
Yeah, pushing up on you. One pushing up.
Okay.
The other guy there.
Fine. Weak on me.
One jumped.
Crack, knock.
Let's go, Ben. Come on, man.
Fucking go.
Good fucking shit, boys.
Fucking go.
20?
Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
Did you see 20 eliminations goes? Was that a 40-point game? You mean we're tying our highest game from yesterday just in map 1?
Yeah, that is the best game from yesterday, dropped by Juki's squad for a total of 40 points to start the day off. Not the biggest game we've seen in World Series of Warzone, but the biggest game we've seen tied in